Everyone back tuning into the 7th Christmas update from GazOverVids.com. We've done 6 updates so far using the long-range CFS V2 model from website missionseal.fr. This is the 7th one. The trend over the past 6 updates, the previous 6 updates, is a little bit on the colder side, actually, this year. We had a couple of very mild updates, but generally been trending a little bit colder around sort of the end of December. Of course, trying to pin this down to an exact day of Christmas Day is almost impossible, so we're looking for the overall trend, really, of the weather for the second half and the latter stages of December. As I say, we have been trending a little bit towards the colder side of things. We'll see what the 7th update has in store in a second. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, this links articles on all pages of GazOverVids, have a browse widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. And thanks very much for doing that. This video ads on most pages which open up in the content when you watch them. They'll close back up again, so we'll help you to pay for the website, and the shop is open, so if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, all you have to do is click the Christmas shop button. It'll take you to the Christmas shop, and then from there you just click through the Amazon banner. You don't need to do anything else, because you're going from GazOverVids to Amazon. We get a revenue fee at the things that you are purchasing when you get to Amazon and do your shopping. So thanks very much for getting involved, and thanks for doing that, and happy Christmas shopping if that's what you're going to do when you watch this video. The website is missionseal.fr, as I just explained, and we can find links to that on the links page. It's the CFS 9 monthly forecast from that website. It was generated midday yesterday. I always try to use the midday run if we possibly can, so this was generated midday on the 14th of November. So we'll start off on the 14th of December, so it's actually a month away, and we have an Atlantic-driven pattern here to start off. We've got low pressure across Iceland, high pressure down to the southwest, plus bringing in these westerly winds, which are mild and unsettled. As we run through the middle part of the month, it stays unsettled. This is the 15th, 16th, on into the 17th, very much Atlantic driven. By the time we go through to the 18th of December, we really are putting up a very mild southwesterly flow. So a real Atlantic push through the middle part of December on this update of the CFS V2 9 monthly forecast. This is a very mild flow as well, with the air originating somewhere from the Azores. Now, as we move through up to the 19th or 20th, things stay very much the same. High pressure builds to the south, low pressure up to the northwest. So again, staying very mild for the run up to Christmas, 19th into the 20th of December. High pressure really is down to the south, pumping up those southwesterly winds. What happens as we get through to the 21st is a bit of a change begins to take place. High pressure moves up from the south, starts to break us out of this westerly flow. So whilst this isn't particularly cold, it would be a little bit colder, and there would be frost at night under this area of high pressure, as the Atlantic is starting to be blocked just a little bit by that area of high pressure coming up from the south. So that's how we go into the 22nd of December, just a few days before Christmas, of course, with high pressure probably producing night frost, maybe some freezing fog patches as well. As we run up towards Christmas, and this is the 23rd, we see that the high pressure starts to move towards Scandinavia. So the high pressure begins to shift its position, starting to pull in some colder air off the continent as these areas of low pressure trying to come in off the Atlantic. So a bit of a block is developing across Scandinavia, blocking the flow, and the Atlantic is struggling to send its weather fronts through into the country. So we go through into Christmas Eve with a block situation. This is midday, Christmas Eve, chart midday, Christmas Eve, and you see we've got high pressure over Scandinavia at 1,030 millibars. We've got a weather front stalled across the country with an area of low pressure developing along it. Now, if I have a look at the upper air temperatures, and this is within quite cold air, so if this came off, it would probably be producing a mix of rain, sleet and snow on Christmas Eve. This is a bit of a recurring thing, because we saw this a couple of updates ago, that we had an idea for Christmas Eve that we'd have a stalling weather front possibly producing some sort of snow event. And we've got it again with tonight's update. So that is quite interesting, how the model is recurring this pattern. Of course, a very long way off to be pinning this down to exact days, but it is a little bit interesting that model has done this again. We go through to Christmas Day, and the storm is taking place, but the area of low pressure has slipped away to the south of us. This is midday Christmas Day. The high pressure is dominant over Scandinavia. This low pressure in the Atlantic is trying to bring these weather fronts in, probably bring rain into Ireland, but the rest of the country is dry but quite cold here. The flow is generally coming in from the east or the southeast. And then the Atlantic has another go as we move through into Boxing Day. Here we go again, another attempt to shift that high pressure to the east. So I've got more fronts coming in from the Atlantic, stalling. This is probably in even colder air because we're bringing in more of a southeasterly flow here. So you could well have a snow event here across the country with a mix of rain and snow, but probably quite a lot of snow in particularly northern and eastern parts of the country. That attempt fails, and the high pressure and the cold wedge of air, which is now firmly established to the east. The high pressure doesn't look like much, but it's the wedge of cold air really that's warding off these areas of low pressure. That is firmly established as we go beyond Christmas. So this is up to the 28th of December, with low pressure stalling to the south of us now, possibly bringing some sort of a snow event to the south of the country, 28th into the 9th, as the flow again is generally from an east or northeasterly type direction. And we keep it cold as we run up towards the new year. This takes us up to the 29th, and here we are still in a cold flow with a wedge of cold air that is connected towards a main cold pool sitting to the east of us. Now things do get a bit of a move on as we run up towards New Year, so now we're going up to New Year's Eve and we're starting to bring in a proper mild push now as the cold air begins to lose battle. Low pressure starts to sweep back in off the Atlantic. Could bring another band of snow as it hits that colder air, but this time it will turn back to rain as mild air moves in from the Atlantic. And we start 2016 on a much milder Atlantic-driven note. Here we go, areas of low pressure coming in from the Atlantic, bringing bands of rain. But notice, as we're running up towards the 4th, 5th, 6th of January, high pressure is back over Scandinavia. Again, the winds are back into the east again. So after that little milder spell, just over the new year, we go through the first week of January, turning cold again with easterly winds, proper easterly blast this one, and a risk of snow, particularly in the south and the west of the country. Those winds really are in from the east as we go through the first week of January. So another pretty interesting update. This is a recurring theme now for these CFS CFS Christmas updates. We've had another one that's definitely falls into the cold bracket, and this one happens to be cold for the days of Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day as well. But of course you can't take that too seriously. But the general idea is definitely a pattern is emerging for the second half of December, the latter part of December, which includes the Christmas period, potentially to be quite cold and maybe quite wintry at times. So having a much, much more interesting year of these updates than we've had for the past two. And we'll see what the 8th update has in store, which we'll probably do on Tuesday evening. That's all for now then, and thanks for watching.